You wonder about those movies that have 1 star or like 10% audience review on Rotten Tomatoes. Who are those movies made for? Who watches them? Well, I do. For you. I'm going to watch it for you, so you don't have to watch it. Today I'm watching Gods of the Deep, which is a Tubi movie, I think. Maybe not produced by them, but it was on Tubi. This movie seemed right up my alley. I love underwater stuff, and I like big monsters or kaiju or whatever. So seemed cool, you know. I was willing to give it a chance. Let's see how it goes, I guess. Gods of the Deep has a 3.3 star rating on IMDb and a 10% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. So you know it's going to be a banger. Before we get started, I legally have to say spoilers, obviously. I'm going to run down the whole movie, give you the synopsis, give you my 2 cents on it. So, if you want to experience Gods of the Deep firsthand, a peer experience of it, go watch it first, and then I guess come back and then watch this video. So, you and I can compare notes. But my opinion is definitely right, and yours is potentially right if it matches mine. Gods of the Deep focuses on our main character, whose name I completely forget right now. But he's a researcher at some college, and his dad is, he owns the dealership of like exploration. He's a big deal, and it's definitely the reason that our guy got his job at the university and subsequently is contacted for this submarine mission we're about to go on. His dad is basically the Wayland of this universe, alien reference, which is going to be clear later, that this is influenced by Alien. So he's contacted by a research group that sent some drones down to the ocean floor, and not just like your standard ocean floor, but like the furthest anybody's ever gone down to, or I guess any drone at this point. And they took a picture of a portal or opening, kind of looks like a Stonehenge, but the middle is where you go through. And they're like pumped, they're like, nice, let's check that shit out. You get to meet the crew.
I'll make the introductions. This is Gordon Atkins, head of the Manned Submersibles Laboratory at London's Royal Society for Improving Natural Knowledge. He's agreed to lead our expedition and is by far
Peter
the
Whalen.
most qualified man for the job. Christine Harris, marine biologist and member of the European Marine Biology Symposium. James Peters is developing our discovery programs at the prestigious Miskatonic University.
He's just there because he's
and is something
Wayland's
of an
son or
expert in the
something.
field of Pickman Corp's early research. Joseph Meeker is our safety and communications officer. And finally, Hank O'Connell, our lead engineer.
But none of these things will actually matter. Nobody does anything related to what their job is supposed to be. Things just start happening. So, it's just our team. So we are introduced to the submarine, which, boy howdy, is a technological marvel.
This is Providence 3. 250 tons, built with syntactic foam, capable of withstanding the huge compressive forces of the water at 37,000 feet and below.
Impressive, Hank.
Really the Rolls Royce of submarines. And I'm going to be honest, it's by far my favorite part about this movie, just because, chef's kiss, what a beautiful craft. And we're going to spend some time going through. I feel like we would be doing the writer a disservice if we didn't, get in there with a fine-tooth comb and really admire his creation. So we'll be doing that. Is that a trash can lid? Also, is that one of those collapsible ladders that graffiti artists use? Wait, that's just like a light switch. Do they just have light switches on submarines? Okay, so we got some big ass joysticks. Did he just drop the bass? Was that some DJ equipment?
She's remarkable.
See, yeah, it is one of those ladders. Those. Roll a clip of a graffiti artist using one of those ladders. And there's another light switch. Did you see that? And that's definitely a garbage can lid. Just like a plastic trash can lid. There it is. That's gonna hold the sub together underwater.
Opening now.
Oh my god, it was. It's a Newmark mixer. It even says Newmark on the side. And that's just pee. And some chain door hangy thingies from like Spencer's Gifts in the mall. They drive their little submarine sail? They sail their little submarine down to the bottom. And, you know, it's an achievement. No one's ever gone that far. Clapping, back, patting all around. And they pretty much get to the portal immediately. And it's really huge. It's like a big ass portal or door, I guess, gateway. It's a big ass gateway. And they pretty much dive right in. You know, they're eager for that hole. They go through here and it's, you know, hella dark, but they got their little light. And they pretty much discover like a lost world. You know, we're not talking like abandoned underwater skyscrapers or anything, but it's clear that these stone structures that are possibly big were like intentionally made, which, you know, is they're all awestruck and whatnot. They eventually come across a dead or dormant massive creature, which is super cool. Like, I don't think they were expecting to find that, although it becomes clear that roughly like half the ship may have ulterior motives or had like a different mission statement. So they send out like a pilot, like a mini sub, which maybe I'm just submarine naive or whatever, but I thought like some of the technology that's impressive is that a lot of pressure down there and it would just crush something. And so I don't know how you have like a small baby one. Also, I don't understand how those things work where it's like a pool in the sub and you can just like dive in and then you're outside. Somebody explain this to me. They want to get a sample from this big creature. Never before seen creature. It's going to be a scientific breakthrough, figuring out what this fella is. So they go do a little pinprick, you know, scoop out a little bit of creature bits, and from there, you know, it gets wild. Alarms start going off. They lose communication for some reason, and lo and behold, this little pinch woke this big baddie up from his slumber, and you know, God knows how long he's been asleep. He's pissed off. You know, he's grumpy. He hasn't even had his coffee yet. So he's groaning, he's shaking his little arms around, and yeah, they book it. They get out of there, and they pretty much just leave him down there doing his little mad dance. So they get to a safe area, still very much at the bottom of the ocean, and they bring their little tissue sample into the lab, which I guess it means the biologist lady had a purpose, but she doesn't do anything biologist related. All of them are just like, ooh, wow, meat cube, nice. Very shortly after having meat cube, a tentacle, like fully grown tentacle, just kind of pops up in the middle and wiggles around, and they're like, holy shit, this thing's alive. So from there, you know, it becomes very clear that half the crew had the mission of crew is expendable, bring back old god Chunk at any cost. Wayland wants the old god meat. And the other half of the crew is like, bro, if this gets to the surface, question mark, bad. So the communication officer or whatever, the only guy with guns, pretty much threatens to shoot anybody that dissents from Team Cube. And there's a bunch of shooting, gunfire, which again, I also didn't know you could just do on a submarine. You could just shoot guns. Totally fine. Wasn't aware of that. And some of the crew just get like possessed by interacting with the meat cube, touching it and stuff. They kind of just go into like weird zombie mode and want to kill stuff, kill the other people. And we pretty much get multiple scenes of what effectively is like a chest burster, except it's just that same tentacle from the meat cube just kind of pops out and wiggles around, and you're like, oh no, not this again. But you know, through this kind of process of elimination, pretty much everybody dies either by gunshot or alien possession, which is just the actor acting possessed, right? There's no like alien on board except for the meat cube. So the lone survivor is the biologist lady, and the submarine goes into like whatever emergency return to base mode, and so it flies or swims, sails back up to the surface real good, real fast. And then, you know, we get our standard 4 weeks later title card, and we're visiting her in the hospital. She seems totally fine. You know, there's no injuries, but you know, she probably did that whole like decompression thing that I understand is bad. And the person who put this whole team together, some lady, I think she's Wayland's right-hand lady, and she's there and she's like, bummer that the mission failed or whatever. And then shock ending.
No. Congratulations, bitch. You got exactly what you fucking wanted.
Roll credits, and man, as the audience member, you're like, oh no, it got back up there, which is bad for humanity but good for the researchers. That's a thinker, you know. You walk away and you walk away. So what did I think of Gods of the Deep? Honestly, it wasn't terrible. I mean, it was terrible. I've watched worse things. But the fact that the submarine is in the movie, I just, it was too enjoyable for me to hate on it. The movie is absolute garbage, though. Don't watch it. I mean, if I had to rate it out of 10, it would probably be a 1 or maybe a 2, with the submarine giving it a whole extra point. But you know, the storyline is pretty bland. I think they could have focused more on the old gods part of it, since it really just shifted into xenomorph mode really quick without ever having a cool alien. There is no alien or monster. It's just people being like possessed by it, which is pretty disappointing. I mean, you do see the old god under the sea, which is what I'm saying we should have focused more on. But anyway, yeah. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, because I didn't. If you have a movie that you've watched that you hated, or it just sits in your brain like a little earworm, and you want to share your pain with somebody else, let me know down in the comments, and I'll check it out, maybe. But that's going to do it. Thanks again. see you next time.
Yeah, planet Earth's butthole. Just where I want to be.